guys, it's Rosie Bitts back with Tantric Tips with Rosie Bitts. Please subscribe and like to continue to see what I do. Okay, so this week I'm going to talk maybe preferably about a pretty heavy subject. There has been a lot coming to the surface in tantric and sacred sexuality communities around abuses that have been happening. And what I want to talk to you about is this is like a little video just about safeguarding you and using your discernment in when you choose a sacred sexuality or tantric community. Now there'll be more discussion. I'm going to discuss this with my teacher, Davy Ward. I know that there's lots of discussions being planned in different communities that I'll probably be part of. But I thought I would just start a little bit into this conversation this week because I think it's important because we're all super vulnerable right now. So I think first is just recognizing that in times like this, when we're all vulnerable, it is easier to get drawn in to something that is potentially toxic. So I was listening to the documentary podcast series on One Taste called the Orgasm Cult. It's great. Super hard to listen to, but really important information. And they had an expert on cults in the program, and he talked about how during certain times of community strife is a time when people are most susceptible to be pulled into cults. So I would say right now is prime time, right? And it's certainly no surprise that One Taste was really having a lot of its peak during times of quite big political unrest in the United States. So I would say just recognize that right now we are all in a state of vulnerability, and that through that vulnerability, through that want for healing, we might be a little bit more open than we usually be to something that might be toxic or nefarious. So I would say number one, in kind of safeguarding yourself, or really before you investigate a journey within Tantra or within sacred sexuality, I want you to get super, super clear on the fact that you are the highest authority for what is good for you. There is nobody, there is not a Buddha, there is not a guru, there is not a single person on this earth who is of a higher authority about what is right for your body. You are it. And if somebody is telling you that they know better, I don't give a fuck who they are, I would say no, right? Maybe if you're talking to a doctor about some cancer treatment, they might have some better ideas. But again, I truly believe that your innate knowing is still the highest knowing that you have access to. So please know, whenever you come to these communities, especially dealing with sexuality, you know best. And check in with yourself, right? Even right now, take a pause in the video, take a moment, take a breath and say, how do I feel about what Rosie is saying to me? Am I getting a yes to that? Am I getting a no to that? And certainly within what I do, I have no problem with people being like, that doesn't work for me, right? That I trust that they know, and that maybe I am not the teacher they need to work with, or the tantrika they need to work with. Maybe there's somebody else who's got better healing for them, right? Or maybe it's that we're going to work and we're going to shift things so that it's more aligned with what they need. So be really clear on knowing that. Do not let that sway. Other people may have more training. They may have more knowledge in certain areas. They may have very valuable things to give to you. You can take that. But anytime you feel a no, respond to that. Respond and trust your no. 100% trust your no, no matter if you are the only one who is trusting that no and everybody else is a yes. That doesn't matter, right? Your intrinsic knowing is right for you. So take that path, please. And again, anybody who tells you any differently, get out of there, especially around sacred sexuality. Get the fuck out of there. Another way to safeguard yourself is to deeply check into who this person is, what their background is, what their training is. Are they lineage-based or non-lineage based? So within Tantra, I'm going to post a link to what my teacher Davy Ward posted about what it means to be lineage-based. Neo-Tantra has really taken over that, but kind of skewed it. It does not mean the same thing thing as within authentic Tantra. Now, lineage-based isn't going to safeguard you from everything. So still listen to that internal knowing. Check out things. You know what I do when I'm going to, and this is like right now, if I'm looking to a new program, especially if it has to do with sexuality, I will type in the teacher's name and sexual allegations, right? I will Google to see, is there anything that comes up about this person that's not so good, that's nefarious, right? And then I will read and go through. But certainly for us at Authentic Tantra, we have a number of different safeguards that go into making sure that what we're offering to people is really of high integrity. One of those being that it is lineage based. So we are getting these practices from thousands of years of unbroken oral tradition, right? We are given permission by our Lama to utilize them in the work that we do. Our Lama is checking in to make sure that what we're doing is good medicine. And if it's not good medicine, he's going to shut us down. And he does pull practices back if he feels like it's too much, if he feels like it's contributing to the drama field as opposed to contributing to the health of people. And we are government accredited. So that means, like, say, massage therapist or a Chinese medicine practitioner, I can actually lose my ability to be accredited. There is people who are in authority who take a look at what I do and they take a look at the program that I'm part of, right? And Authentic Tantra can lose their accreditation if we are not working within ethical guidelines. And we also have a code of ethics that we must all adhere to, as well as being recertified yearly. So I do ongoing continuing training throughout Authentic Tantra, as well as all the learning I do on my own. And I get recertified every single year. So I have to do a big test to show that my knowledge is still relevant and get recertified every year. So, they are the only tantric school in the world who does that, but there are other schools who have, maybe they're not accredited, but they have a lot to look at where they're acting from high points of ethics. And so I would check those out and see what that looks like, and then listen to that internal knowing. Really get to know, and you can jump on a call with people. If you're really not sure, jump on a call and see what that feels like for you. Again, take a pause. Are you getting any red flags? Is there anything that's not aligning with you? And I talked about in the last video, take a look, or 2 videos ago, I think, take a look at their social media. Start scrolling through. Take a look if their words and their actions seem to align. Again, safeguarding yourself. Okay, another way to safeguard yourself is get some knowledge. Read up about sacred sexuality. Read up about Tantra. See what you can find. Get books. Start to find out what aligns. And I'll put down some books that I really love down below so that you have some references, right? And see what feels in alignment with you. And then when you are getting into a community, see if they also adhere to that. And then I would say the next one is talk to people in that community. Talk to people who've worked with that teacher. Is their medicine good medicine? Is it working? Is it working for the teacher? Is it working for the students? That is always my thing is, you know what, if my medicine is not working for me, if you are not seeing my life improve, right? And you don't like to see, you're not looking at my life saying, I want what she has, right? It seems like she's got really good relationships. It seems like has beautiful connections with the people in her life, with her children, with her family, with her clients. She's living a life that I'd really like to live. If that's not the truth, if you look at that person and think, oh, there's a lot of issues there, don't go there for sacred sexuality. Absolutely do not. Check in deeply. And then I would also take a look, because right now, within the sacred sexuality and Tantra community, there are some people who are doing some pretty shady stuff. So I would look into the hallmarks of a cult and see if what you're seeing is aligning with that. When you're being told you are the chosen ones, when you're being told that if you just do this, then you're going to fit in and you will be special and it will heal everything, that's problematic. And when you're being told that this is the only way. That's super problematic. You know, teachers who work in Tantra and sacred sexuality who are really legitimate are going to encourage you to also work with a counselor if you need to work with, you know, a variety of different specialists to support you, especially mental health specialists, because we know, being trauma informed, you know, if it's a legitimate person who is trauma informed, they're going to know that by tapping into your sexuality, it may bring things to the surface that are really challenging to deal with, and that you're going to need a community of help to support you through that if you've had some deep trauma in your background. And maybe even if you didn't, you may still need more than just that one person. So unless you're going to somebody who is, and I would say even if you're going to somebody who's trained as a therapist and a tantrika or sexologist or somatic sexual health coach or whatever, I would say have a few people on board. You know, I love to work in collaboration with counselors, with other healers, and I will send clients to other people, or I will say to them, if I think, even before we start working together, if I think something may come up, I'll say, I really want you to have a few other people on board before we get started. It's really important. Now, you know, this ensures that because that tantrika or sacred sexuality coach is needing to be accountable to other professionals, they're going to have to really be legitimate. If they're saying, don't see a counselor, only see me, that's a huge red flag, right? I cannot underline what a red flag it is to isolate you in any way. They should be supporting your access, unless they're saying, hey, maybe this is a toxic relationship you might want to think about. They should be supporting your access to other support, you know, other professionals, to your family, to your friends, and, you know, be in a place of somewhat humility, realizing that they have good medicine to give you and being in intention of giving you the medicine, but also knowing that that's not the full thing. Okay, so that's a lot. It is heavy in the world right now, and I'm bringing you this video. I wanted to bring you a light video, but you can check out my light video at Fancy Lady Talks with Marissa Boyce. We did a lighter video because I just want you to be safe, and I know that people are vulnerable right now, and I don't want any further trauma for you or anybody else to go through. I want, when you pick somebody to work on, you know, these deep-rooted things that we're needing to work on, and to work in this area of our deep power, but also our deep vulnerability, which is our area of sexuality, I want you to be 100% safe. And I know that there's incredible safe practitioners. I'm not the only one. There are others, you know, who can really support you well on your journey. But there are also people who are going to create more trauma and abuse. And even if they seem like super sweet people, their lack of knowledge around being trauma informed, around being willing to work with other professionals, around, you know, perhaps living out their own trauma through the work they're doing with people, can create a really unsafe space. So it doesn't mean that they're always like, you know, ooh, it's a bad person planning bad things. Sometimes they've planned the best thing. They just don't have all the information or the support themselves to do that work in an appropriate way. So there you go, my loves. Stay safe. Use your discernment. You know what's best for you. You really, really do. And if you want to talk it out, if you want to ask what I think about certain practitioners or programs, please do. If I don't know anything about them, I'll check in with my Sangha. I'll check in with my network, which is quite big. And I'm always happy to offer some advice if I have it, you know, if I have any knowledge in that area. Okay, be safe. Be well and live in pleasure. I love you so much. Mwah.